When it came to bringing the world as we know it under the enchantment of the rapping, when it came to bringing our generation, our community, our society under the spell of hip-hop, Satan left no stone unturned. He used every human agency known to man to accomplish the task. You see, behind the scenes, Satan has a vast network set up, like a spider's web, of human beings who have devoted their allegiance to this demonic alien from outer space. They have pledged their allegiance to his worship. Within this web is a specific organization that is specifically known as the Church of Satan. This group, hand in hand with the Order of Freemasonry, developed and made what we know today as hip-hop. This highly influential group of occultists were formed by not just one, but two individuals. The first of these individuals was a high-ranking Freemason and filmmaker by the name of Kenneth Anger. And the second was an occultist by the name of Anton Xander LaVey. These two men came together based on the fact that they were both disciples of the world-renowned Satanist and mystic Aleister Crowley, who just happens to be the grandpapa of our former president, George W. Bush. This guy Crowley was high-ranking, and believe me, when I say high-ranking, I really mean he was a high-ranking Freemason. I mean, normally you hear that the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry has 33 degrees. And then you hear the York Rite has only 13 degrees. But this guy, he went up. I mean, up into what they call the esoteric rites, up into the 95th degree of Freemasonry. Just to give you an example of how high Crowley was in the grand scheme of things, right here is where Albert Pike was. He was a 33rd degree Grand Sovereign Inspector General. And this right here is where Aleister Crowley was, Grand Master of the OTO, or the Ordo Templi Orientis, or the Order of the Rising Sun. He was also involved in a group of mystics known as the Hormetic Order of the Golden Dawn. And what this means is he was involved in all sorts of witchcraft and wizardry, communication with demonic spirits, communicating with Lucifer and his angels himself. What this simply means is that Aleister Crowley was privy to way more information than Albert Pike, the Pope of Freemasonry, ever was. This means that Aleister Crowley was in fact the most influential Freemason of our time. And this man was a Satanist. In some circles today you might hear that Crowley was really a decent guy, but please don't believe the lie. This guy was a wicked, and I mean wicked man. In fact, he even labeled himself as the wickedest man alive, as the great beast of Revelation 666. This man committed all types of atrocities, from intercourse with animals to human sacrifices. I mean, this guy was evil. He even wrote books on how to give human sacrifice, animal sacrifice, on how to conduct witchcraft rituals. I mean, everything. And despite of how demonic this man was, his theology sparked what we know today as the hippie movement, as the quote-unquote love revolution that took place in the 60s and the 70s, mainly based off his theology of do as thou wilt.
Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Every man and every woman is a star. Man has a right to live by his own law. Man has a right to eat what he will, drink what he will, dwell where he will, move where he will. Man has a right to think what he will, speak and write whatever he will, and make what he will. Man has a right to love as he will. Take your fill and will of love, where and when you will. Man has a right to kill those who would thwart these rights. The slave shall serve.
I forgot. What was that statement that Pike gave? On page 118 of Morals and Dogma, we find this quote: "If the bond of gravitation that holds all worlds and systems together were suddenly severed, the universe would fly into wild and boundless chaos. And if we were to sever all the moral bonds that hold society together, if we could cut off from it every conviction of truth and integrity, of an authority above and a conscience within, it would immediately rush to disorder and frightful anarchy and ruin." thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. This is the reason why they have been pumping the saying into our ear from the pulpit to the cinema, from the synagogue to the soap opera. Do as thou wilt, do as thou wilt, do as thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. This satanic doctrine, this doctrine of devils has become the quote-unquote acceptable, quote-unquote reasonable, quote-unquote logical way of thinking in this quote-unquote modern society. Just do what you wanna do. Bone Thugs coined this phrase the best. It's all G-O-O-D, good. The South switched it up. Do what you do. Get it how you live. No matter how you twist it, it remains the same. Do as thou wilt. This is the means by which Satan is demonizing, demoralizing humanity. One can come only to this logical conclusion that if we, as a society, have accepted this satanic way of thinking, then we are a satanic society. A society of Satan, being led by none other than Satan, to fulfill the will of none other than Satan himself. Wait. I forgot to explain what this is.